everybody, I have curtains now. Anyway, I really wanted to make this video when I saw this because it is fucking hilarious. So this the Senator Josh Hawley humiliates this fucking SJW lunatic named Kira Bridges, and it's really funny. And to make it even better, these people right here, which are, I've never heard of them before, but they're called the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. They were reacting to it and defending Bridges. And it's so funny. So we're going to debunk the actual video itself, and then of course what these two lunatics are saying. Let's go.
Into the abortion debate.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Yes, biologically that would be women. Wait until you see what she says.
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy.
Okay, straight women, yeah.
Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy.
A trans man is still a biological woman, but okay.
As well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
But a non-binary female is still a female. Look, I gotta say it again for the millionth time. I have no problem with non-binary people as long as, you know, it's actually the dysphoric phase going into being transgender, not just some random trend. But here's the thing. I will call you they, them. I straight up will. As long as you are willing to admit and acknowledge that the way you identify is not who you actually are. Anyway, moving on.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue. It's
So, first of all, he already grabs her being like, because you know how these SJWs are, like, this is a women's right, and then 2 seconds later they're like, oh yeah, but there's also non-binary people and trans people and all this, and then we're just like, so then it's not a woman's right? Because there's other things, right? According to your own logic. And then she gets all defensive. Look.
Who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize.
Like, watch, he gets like all bug-eyed and shit. It's fucking hilarious.
That this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups.
Of course you can recognize that it impacts women and other people, but then you cannot call it an exclusively women's issue. You can't say things like, no uterus, no opinion. Like, that just doesn't make it... You're like trying to say that... It's like saying I'm fat and skinny at the same time. Well, no, you're not. You're one or the other.
Those things are not mutually exclusive.
They literally are mutually exclusive, and look at her fucking eyes!
Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
Of course! Here we go again, the traditional SJW cop-out. Asking questions is transphobic. There's my door. Asking questions is transphobic. Oh, yes. Of course. Of course it is. Can't question anything we say. You must believe everything at face value.
And it opens up trans people to violence. But
no, it doesn't. In fact, if we want to talk factually, the violence that trans people face is almost entirely caused by you people. It actually is. The amount of trans people who have done things like left the LGBT plus community, detransitioned, have severe regrets, damaged their body, is actually rising. And the reason for it, without making the video an hour long, is the craziness of SJWs and the plus part of LGBT has basically made them be like, I'm ashamed to be a part of this community, I'm fucking done. Regret for detransitioning is so high because they transitioned at such a young age and didn't fully understand it, but did it because of trends and school pressure and things like that. So that's where it's actually from, not just by some guy saying, can you explain to me what you mean by women, by people who can get pregnant? Like, no, those questions are not the reason. It's your stupidity that actually caused it.
By not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by...
Yeah, and that's literally what she's saying, but he's not actually doing that.
Asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
Good question, sir.
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide.
That's correct. And the reason is because of you, not him.
So I think it's important.
Because of my line of questioning?
Because of my line of questioning? No. Because of the way that she's answering the questions.
So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist.
When the fuck? I'm sorry, was a part of this video cut out? When the fuck did he deny the existence of trans people? He never did that. He never.
And pretending not to know that they exist.
He didn't do that.
I'm
It's
denying that trans
dangerous.
people exist by asking
Are you?
if you're
Are
talking
you?
about women.
Are you?
Having
No. He should have just said no, but instead he mocks her, which is fine.
pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
Of course not.
No, I don't think women.
I believe trans men can get pregnant because they're biologically female, but I don't believe men can get pregnant because we seem to be forgetting, as usual, that trans men and men are not the same thing.
So you're denying that trans people exist?
So you're denying it? She's getting so fucking, like, she actually looks psychotic. I'm not even kidding. When she's like, so you're admitting that she's like, she's fucking crazy.
Men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can
So
get
you're
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or
No, she says no.
are they also treated like this?
Wait, did she say
Is
yes?
this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they...
Oh, sorry. She was saying absolutely to are students allowed to answer questions. But let me give you the real answer. The answer to the first question, is this how you run your classroom? The answer is yes. Are students allowed to ask questions? The real answer is no. This is the kind of teacher who like gets in her students' faces and gets all riled up and bug-eyed. And if they dare to ask her a question, she calls them like transphobes or kicks them out of the class. And if they if they outsmart her, she gives them like detention. Like this is one of those crazy people.
Also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that they're
to question.
opening up people.
They're not allowed to ask questions. Okay, he asked you a question. And it was a pretty tame question too, and you looked like you were going to like your eyes were gonna pop out of your head or roll back like The Exorcist.
To violence.
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning.
class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a
Look at her face.
lot. I've learned a lot
I
just from this
know,
exchange.
absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky,
Wow.
Oh boy.
He's got spanked.
Now we're gonna be reacting to these two idiots who think that she won the debate.
All over there.
He got spanked. I don't know what you were watching, dude.
Now to be clear, I mean, what she did was incredibly brave.
No, it wasn't. Acting like a bug-eyed psycho and not answering a question. That's bravery. All right.
Because I will guarantee you, that clip will be on Tucker Carlson tonight.
As it should be. Tucker Carlson would just make fun of her.
And Tucker Carlson will make her pay for that.
Make her pay for being an idiot. Okay, sure.
That is what his job is. His job is to make sure that she is scared shitless of ever doing that again. And
Well, I don't want to scare her into not doing it. My personal preference of action would be to smarten her up so that she wouldn't want to do that again.
so folks should
Get her back.
get on Twitter, get her back, because I guarantee
No, she's a fucking psycho.
you they are going to demonize the shit out of her.
Yep.
As they should.
And just like,
A black woman talking
Oh, here we go! Bring in the raise card. Of course. Why not? You know, we're only calling her crazy because of what she said, not because of her skin color. But again, when you're an extremist liberal SJW lunatic, you gotta bring anything. You gotta bring in the fact that she's a woman or black or whatever. Everything that does not involve the actual point.
talking about trans rights is
And daring to talk back to Josh Hawley.
exactly
And not just
What do you mean daring to talk back? Like, I swear to God, we watched a different video. If you watch the video, she's the one talking over him, interrupting him, not answering his question. Like, and when she was talking, she was just talking nonsense. And he's sitting there like, okay, can you just explain yourself? Because it makes no sense. And then her reaction is, you're a transphobe. Okay?
just take that line of questioning, right? I mean, she reframed it in such an amazing, perfect way. First of all, like, just I don't know. It takes a lot of bravery, as you say, because of what she's going to face as a black woman and in this public forum.
Of course.
But just the fact that she also said not all women can get pregnant too. When you expand the understanding of health.
Okay, wait, whoa, stop. She didn't say that. She didn't say that not all women can get pregnant. She said that not only women get pregnant. Again, we're either watching a different fucking video here or you're just blatantly lying. Now, the phrase "not all women can get pregnant" basically refers to pregnant women who can get pregnant and women who can't due to like infertility issues. But what she actually said was that not only women can get pregnant, meaning that women can get pregnant, but so can other people like trans men and non-binary and blah blah. So again, like, she's either just lying or she misheard what she said. Like, what?
Healthcare to include trans people and talk about how it's, and sometimes, I'll fall into it, say women as a shorthand in terms of who will get protected by abortion, but,
Okay, with abortion, yes, you're right, but let's talk about trans people trying to get medical care. There is something very vital about when they get care that idiots like you just don't fucking understand. When you go to a doctor, especially when you're complaining about issues due to your anatomy, it's very important to tell the doctor what you are from birth. Because if you're a woman going into a doctor saying, I identify as a man, and you're complaining about problems with like your ovaries or uterus, it gets very fucking confusing. And they also have to do particular tests based on what you're complaining about. And there are different tests for men and women. I'm sorry. But if you go in telling them that you're trans and you're the opposite gender of what you were born as, they could very easily give you the wrong medication, the wrong tests, and all kinds of things like that. And it can actually be very fucking dangerous. So I'm sorry, trans people, but you actually do have to go to the doctor, depending on what the issue is, and tell them your biological sex, not the one that you transitioned into. You have to. It's just how the medical field works. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get more in the habit of it as well, to say people who can get pregnant, you are being inclusive about women who don't have the capacity to get pregnant, yes, or cis women, and two, trans men as well, non-binary people. And the fact that she's being aggressive and not hiding from that messaging
is her being a lunatic, but okay.
Really, really does wonders, and it's important.
Because she's right. Like, the idea that,
She's right! Okay.
For an example, for somebody who's still confused about this, let's walk through it really slowly. Let's say somebody is assigned female at birth, but then becomes non-binary and does...
Assigned female, or born with a uterus and a vagina and ovaries, but okay.
Doesn't associate with that. Regardless of whether they do any sort of other kind of intervention, that is enough to not call that person a woman, even if they get pregnant. You're an asshole if you insist on calling that person a woman. That's just simple.
I agree to an extent, but your reasoning is so psychotic. I agree that if somebody is trans and you want other people to call you based on what you're identifying as, that's fine. But from a medical and biological standpoint, you are wrong. You are fucking wrong.
Simple. This is just, these categories...
And for example, and by the way, just to clear things up, when we're talking about pregnancy, that is biological, not preference. Because you can't choose if your body is able to have children. Because, I know this is shocking, but you can't just go and buy a uterus. You have to already have one in your body from birth. I know, crazy fucking shit, right?
Folks want her Twitter handle. She's not on Twitter. So I don't know.
That's probably why she also has such clear thought processes.
Well, yes.
They're claiming that she's smart because she's not on Twitter. Meanwhile, she sounds equally as dumb as any other blue check mark, but sure, whatever.
He didn't quite have the dominance that he would have wanted for the trip that he's going to make to Tucker.
What an idiot. Again, he wasn't even trying to be dominant. He just asked a question. What is it with SJWs and not understanding what questions are? No, for real. Like, let's look at SJW culture overall. We have this clip here where he's asking a question. He's trying to be dominant. Or SJWs who thinks that asking questions are offensive. Or SJWs who think that asking questions are aggressive. That one article I mentioned years ago about how in school, teachers were marking down incorrect answers using a red pen, and they found that aggressive. Everything involving questions is considered like transphobic or sexist or racist or rude or aggressive or something like that. And here I'm just talking about it, but if you actually want to know the answer, I can tell you because I already know what it is. The answer is because the majority of the time, SJWs can't actually answer questions about the kind of things that they believe in. They just state things without reason. So when they are faced with an actual question, they panic like, oh, well, I have these beliefs, but I can't actually defend them. Like, that's fucking stupid. Because if I'm going to defend them, then I need facts, and I don't have facts, therefore I can't defend them. So you can't ask me questions, and that's sexist and transphobic and racist if you do. It's their fucked up defense mechanism.
The last refuge for someone who thinks like a conservative. Understand this. This is what the conservative brain, this is essentially what conservatism is at the end of the day.
Can't wait for this.
It is aggrievement. And when he pivots into like, oh, is this what you do to kids in your class? You don't let them ask questions?
That was a very good question for him to ask her. Like, you think it was a straw man or something, but let me explain to you because you're actually dumb. The reason why he did the whole, like, is this how you are in your class? That's a good question because she overreacted and got enraged and bug-eyed with him after just a few seconds. I can only imagine what she's like with her students when they're asking multiple questions and maybe some of them even stand up and outsmart her. We see videos of that happening all over YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened in her classroom. So yes, it is a good thing to ask. Primarily because if it does happen in her class, we should know about it because as far as I'm concerned, if it does happen, she's kind of abusing her students. I mean, let's be fair here.
And you say that the questions could cause harm?
That's a good question because she was implying that a question can cause harm, and questions are very important. I know you don't like questions because they make you uncomfortable, but it's actually very important to ask questions. That's how you clarify shit, idiot.
That aggrievement, you can see it everywhere.
Oh god, conservatives like to ask questions so that they can do those horrible things like gather information. Questions, oh my god. What are we gonna do?
And it is the biggest tell for either a conservative or just someone who's playing the conservative grift. You can see it with YouTubers complaining about their demonetization.
Why shouldn't we complain about being demonetized? Like, what?
Whether it's like, Dave Rubin used to, I'm getting this demonetized, I'm getting that demonetized, or I've been kicked off of Twitter, or anybody else. Anybody else. I don't even care what they pretend. I would love to see an academic study of the rate in which conservatives cry about demonetization as opposed to anybody in the center or center left. I mean, these...
Because conservatives are banned more? Because it's been proven and admitted multiple times that social media is monopolized and does target conservative people and conservative viewpoints just for being conservative. That is a literal fucking fact. Fucking these two that are like Hunter Avalon's parents would deny it, but facts show otherwise.
These things happen. But it is always like a huge aggrievement. I can't even express an opinion anymore without being criticized for it.
That is 100% true. Literally, all that guy Josh did was ask her a couple of questions. She didn't answer him, and you are playing on it that he shouldn't be saying things like, I can't express anything. Meanwhile, you're literally criticizing him for trying to express a question to her. You may not know what irony is, but here's an example of it.
It's a aggrievement. We need to be in the marketplace of ideas. My ideas need to be ensconced in a bubble.
The irony of an SJW saying that conservatives are the ones in bubbles or echo chambers. The irony. And if you don't understand why that's ironic, Josh is the conservative asking a question, but you're expecting him to just take what Bridges says at face value. But he's in the echo chamber and she isn't. Okay, I think you should also relearn what an echo chamber is.
A no criticize zone.
But you're angry that he criticized her. Like, what?
If I get criticized, oh my gosh!
But she's the one who reacted at getting criticized, not him.
Like, they can't even bring up the snowflake criticism anymore because their aggrievement is so intense that they've got to spread these things out a little bit.
Am I on a different planet?
It's also funny, Holly comes around to almost arguing for a conservative safe space with regards to his questions. Like, is this how I would be treated if I was in your class? Like, if you're a little smug little punk, like I imagine you were.
Oh my god, now they're even criticizing him for the whole, like, is this how you treat your students thing? It's not that he's being a snowflake, it's that her students are young, and therefore shouldn't be treated the same way that she's treating him. Why is this basic logic so foreign?
At Stanford and Yale, where you went to, yeah, I imagine like some teachers can be a little bit snippy.
You could either do that, or you could, like, you know, sue the Humanist Report for saying that you hate trans people.
Even though he literally didn't say that. Wow. That video was a fucking disaster. Okay, I've already disliked it. Thank fuck for that. What a bunch of idiots! Holy fuck! Now, just to specify, I want everybody to know, if you haven't watched my past videos, I've already said this, but I am not saying that people who identify as the opposite sex are not, like, shouldn't be respected and called that sex. For example, Blair White. I will call her a woman. But here's the thing. I will still acknowledge and hope that she acknowledges that while she is a woman now, she is still a biological male. Because trans women are not women. Trans women are trans women. That's what you are. A woman is a woman, and a trans woman is a trans woman. It doesn't matter if you've transitioned. Your biology is still the same. Even Blair and many other trans women, I will call you a woman. But it doesn't mean you have a uterus or ovaries. It doesn't. And that's not being disrespectful. That's just being scientific. I will call you a woman because you transitioned, you have gender dysphoria, and that's how you identify. But you can never change your biology, and I'm sorry about that. You just can't do it. That's all I'm trying to say. Wow.